something that he should have otherwise. And then Harassment does dominate once again, but I feel like it should just go a little bit better. I also felt that Avillo was going to go for missile turrets faster, but I was wrong about that, so maybe I don't know these guys early games as much as I thought I did, but...
I mean, I think he would have if it wasn't for the fact that the Adept just messed him up a lot.
Yeah.
And then obviously the Adepts got into the main base. The moment you have to pull 7-8 SCVs from your mineral line, everything is thrown off.
That is very true. Well, we don't have to wait anymore as we are finally into this PvP in the bottom right on Backwater for the Netherlands. It is the red Protoss, Harassment.
And on the left top side of Backwater, we're looking in the main base of the man, the myth, the legend. Puts 5 on it every single day. It's Canning.
So the next map's going to be black-pink.
Okay.
I'm actually already thinking about how Neeb would like that, but don't want to get too far ahead. This does leave Harass in a position where PvP is something he has to worry about pretty much for the rest of the group, as everyone's eyes are on Neeb. But Canning, what do you have planned here? I mean, the ultimate goal for him always does seem to be to get to Disruptors, but does he have anything else early game in PvP that he can show?
I mean, Stargates are pretty damn popular in PvP, of course, as well. Now, a good scenario for Canning would be if he would, let's say, open up with a Phoenix, while Harassment would open up with an Oracle.
Right.
I don't think it's the default win that we used to call it in Heart of the Swarm, but that would still obviously be a massive advantage. Now, Oracles are also very good against the 2-gaze fast expand Robo, a little weaker against Twilight openings, but the Twilight openings are a little bit weak against Robos, and then if that's not complicated enough, then of course you can always throw in a Dark Shrine every now and then, and that makes PvP the beauty that it is.
It is a beautiful matchup. Maybe I hear other things when you're playing it, but I enjoy watching it.
I think it's always fun. I think PvP can be as random as you make it. At the end of the day, there are definitely some build orders that have an advantage over the other. As we see a cool spray being used there, the Good Luck Have Fun instead of Colossus. Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Oh, that's really cool, actually. I love it.
That is one of the cooler sprays.
That should be a tattoo. What do you say, Jess? Loser of this match has to get it as a tattoo.
Why would I ever get a tattoo of a Colossus? No, 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 no. Nope. Yeah. Clearly, Canning should have the Nation Wars nuke, though. I don't know what he's thinking.
I've never been much of a sprayer because the hotkey for spray is Y, and I refuse to change any hotkeys of my settings. And I don't touch, or what is it, Y? Whatever it is, it's very far on the right side of my keyboard, and I don't touch that button very often. But I actually love the ideas of sprays, and I always think it's very funny.
I thought maybe we could see it, but we can't.
It's all the way on the right side. All right, so there is a Stargate going down for Canning after a double Stalker opening, but he has 2 additional Stalkers on the way. We're going to keep a close eye, I want to say, on that probe that he had out on the map as well. Harassment opened up a little more safe. Now, for Harassment, ideally, you open up with a Twilight here, but the safer option is opening up with the Robo.
See what he slaps down. He's moving across the map to see, put a little pressure on Canning, I suppose. Or were those units walking across the map?
I think it's...
No, I was just actually going outside. I thought he was closer to the base. I was like, wait, with a sentry? That seems a little dangerous.
Yeah. Probably just checking for proxies and stuff.
All right, another sentry is on the way. Another stalker as well. So we still haven't seen that tech thrown down quite yet.
Canning opening up with the Phoenix over here. Now it is going to be a Robo, so this is a very safe approach from Canning. Excuse me, from Harassment. Harassment is hallucinated Phoenix, takes a little bit of damage. Spots these Stalkers, and this is still a little scary. If you're Harassment right now, you're like, oh my goodness, please don't tell me this is some crazy 4-gate or, 3-gate with a proxy Robo, 3-gate with a proxy Stargate. Now Harassment is going to scout in the main base, and he will see a real Phoenix. Now obviously this means that it's going to be a slower paced game, and that all that Harassment needs to do is just crank out as many probes as possible, split up the units eventually, and try to keep your mineral line safe.
He doesn't have that Twilight Council now. He's looking for Blink. Canning going to go for the Robo, and we still expect Disruptors at a later time, but Phoenix is roaming around the map, are going to be able to maybe get a couple of probes. I mean, ideally, they have at least a few.
They should always get at least a couple. It's almost inevitable, especially if the Robo is the building before the Twilight. It means Blink is late. Now, it's never going to be easy to get probes against someone like Harassment, but if you truly commit to 4 or 5 Phoenixes, you don't want to take any real damage on them just yet. Good job there by Canning. I'm sure he'll get a couple probes down the road, but Canning, his ideal scenario here was Harassment opening up with an Oracle. And I still love the Phoenix because that's a way to catch a break, right? Against a player that has more experience than you, that is higher ranked than you on the ladder. You try to get a little bit fortunate, perhaps with the build orders. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, so it's going to all come down to execution. But I still like what Canning did here.
Harsum's already looking for a third base, then it is going to slap it down, and the Phoenix will see that, but there's not much they can do about it. They can just grab the probe and then leave. There's not that many of them, and of course they can't lift buildings.
Cannon can do the same thing, and there is a good chance he will.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be too afraid of anything. We can already see, ooh, committed with the Phoenix there. I'm not sure what he went for. Okay, he picked off a Sentry, but he paid the price with a Phoenix. That's not a trade that I'm in love with. Picking up Sentries is obviously fantastic, but Phoenix are a lot more tanky than Sentries. So it's a lot easier to kill a Sentry than it normally is to kill a Phoenix, and I'm sure that Harsum feels quite okay about that trade.
Harsum's really taking on these Phoenixes, not letting them do very much at all. Just the probe that went to the third, and then, of course, that Sentry was a little too close to the edge, perhaps.
Yeah, no, excellent. I must say, Harsum doesn't even have too many observers, correct? Can we take a look at the amount of observers? Okay, so he does have one observer in a very important position, and that allows Harsum to move his Stalkers around a little bit better, because he always knows from which angle these Phoenix come in. This is not something that everybody does, but it's absolutely fantastic against Phoenix.
A lot of gateways coming down here for Harsum. A little before Canning. He is adding on Immortals, by the way, and now going for Charge as well. So Harsum is going to complete that blink, even though the threat is already over. It never really existed, to be honest, with the Phoenixes. They did not do a whole lot, but blink is still a very useful upgrade.
Yeah, I like the fact that Harsum also didn't take his gases too early. If you play against Phoenix, you don't have too much to worry about. There is no point in taking all your gases early on. Just go for as many gateways as you possibly can and try to get that economy going. Canning is not falling far behind though. As we can see, it's 52 workers against 52 workers. Tech-wise, I'd say he's a tiny bit behind, of course, because the Phoenixes didn't do that much, and that means that, you know, when it comes to the other upgrades, he's falling behind a tiny bit. But so far, this is not a bad game by Canning at all.
I mean, isn't it kind of nice for Canning to have so many Immortals already on his way to Charge against Harsum, who seems to be just sticking on Stalkers as his support unit, and then, I mean, he's adding on Templar Archives now, but it's just Stalker Archon, right?
Stalkers Stalkers and Zealots are actually very good, and Archons as well. As long as the armies are not massive, this army of Harsum is just as good as the army of Canning. You are absolutely spot on. If the Immortal count reaches 4 or 5 and you've got a blue wall of Archons in front of them, then they are fantastic. But right now, Canning doesn't have that blue wall of Archons. So that actually means that if those Immortals get exposed, if the Zealots get on top of the Immortals, as the Phoenixes are getting picked up over here as well, I kind of like where this is going for Harsum. Harsum's army is very big, powerful. There is that first Archon for Canning, but is that one Archon going to be enough?
Yeah, there's also a shield battery, of course, fair advantage here, and he does already have his upgrade. Already working on +2. Another Immortal pops out, and I'm sure he's chronoing the other one. That's going to be another shield battery finishing up, and I'm not sure that Harsum can really force the issue here.
Well,
but he's
I think with all these Zealots, I think he's going to try, even though you got to go fast. You obviously don't want to wait too long. Yeah. He's going to shade the Adepts in as well, and that's perhaps going to be his moment. He's going to try to pull the army out of position a little bit, force a warp in somewhere. So Harsum does find some damage here, but you're right, Jess. He's not truly committing to it. Fighting against batteries is always a little scary.
Yeah, certainly. And it's not like his charge was really threatening at a correct time, too. Like, he would have to wait a little while longer, giving Canning plenty of time to get those shield batteries, maybe add on even another Immortal, and this is going to go to a bit longer of a game. So Harsum slaps down a couple cannons of his own, as he is getting a Dark Shrine. Often that's when you think of, like, what could my opponent be doing? So it's actually Canning has to worry about this, unless he scouts it.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, the more time goes by, the more Archons Canning is going to get out, the higher that Immortal advantage will become, as he's already adding a second Robo. Now, I'm starting to like where this is really going for Canning. With 4 Immortals, I mean, numbers are pretty even across the board, but when it comes to, if you look at the army composition, I feel like it's almost now or never for Harsum, all of his Zealots. The longer you wait, the more Immortals you'll be trailing, and that Archon count is not stopping for Canning.
It's a lot of Zealots for Harsum, but he's now down an upgrade in a very significant way. It's not like it's about to finish. It's still got a long way to go, but this is a bit of an awkward engagement. Canning is going to be able to save his 4th. Distraction in the main.
Potentially a massive warp in here, as a couple of Stalkers are going to blink in the main as well. They snipe that Phoenix. Nice Zealot warp in here. Obviously, Canning is going to be able to warp in quite a few units. Ooh, High Templar gets picked off there on the right side. And of course, Harsum is already satisfied with just sniping the 4th base here.
Yeah, that's pretty good. His is almost already done. And he's also getting a few probes, as well as just really making M. Canning work for this. He almost attacked into the natural, but M. Canning did split appropriately.
He sniped the cannon, which means there is no detection against these Dark Templars here. The only observer of M. Canning is with the army. M. Canning gonna have to recall that observer or chrono boost out another one as quickly as possible. Even if M. Canning wins this fight, he's gonna lose so much in his main base.
The DTs are finally gonna hit that economy. Initially, they were just working with their leftover army. M. Canning chasing down Harsam's army as well. Upgrade still in favor of M. Canning here. And the DTs, now he can go over and get them. That worked out oddly well.
That second robo has squeezed out a observer, but the DDs are just all over the place. Now, there was still, of course, an observer with the main army. M. Canning is doing a good job. I must say, I find it very impressive that M. Canning only lost 3 probes. He did lose a lot of pylons and his gates are empowered, but the fact that during all of that, he lost 3 probes, I find that remarkable.
Yeah, I was waiting for that kill count to really rise, but it was a lot about the army trades as well. He had Immortals that came over here to respawn. Obviously, they took quite some time to actually be cleaned up. So I guess maybe, how many Immortals is it now for each person? 3 to 2, and I guess that was a much higher number for M. Canning originally. So we do consider that was part of the trade. Yeah, he's lost 3. And of course, all these depowerings. The Warp Prism living is really annoying, considering he had that Phoenix, but of course got sniped with Harstam using his Stalkers that he's now, of course, not going to replace. He's the one going
Void Ray is almost coming out, and that means that this Prism is going to be stuck here. It has 4 Zealots inside of it as well. This is probably the moment that Harstam should have recalled that Prism, but he didn't know perhaps that there was a Void Ray on the way. But this Prism is in love trouble. It's going to get sniped, and only a single Zealot will be able to jump out. So, even though I thought the way that M. Canning saved all his probes was sick, absolutely very, very well done, in the end, it still wasn't great for him because he lost the Immortals and he has no fort base during all of this.
Right, exactly. It was like over a minute, definitely, that Harsam has been mining from this base. Not quite fully saturated, only getting the gas now, but it's a huge difference. Also, just in the probe amount, Harsam is up 15 and didn't have to actually fear being attacked. I think now he would, as he is also transitioning into Disruptors, but M. Canning's not pushing this time. And I gotta, just reiterate that it is Harsam going for the Disruptors, which I do not believe M. Canning knows about.
No, and M. Canning doesn't really have anything right now to truly get on top of the Disruptors. There's no real answer against it. I think attacking into them is obviously the worst thing that you could possibly do because Disruptors are so freaking strong defensively. He doesn't have the Phoenix anymore to lift them. It's going to be a very, very tough, awkward battle. Now, M. Canning obviously does have a lot of experience with Disruptors and obviously going up against them as well. But he's great in Disruptor wars. But how do you do a Disruptor war when you don't have any Disruptors yourself?
I think he got something behind there to see the Disruptors or something. I mean, he's building Phoenixes now. Well, there you go. If you hadn't seen it before, he definitely sees it now, and I think, again, his 4th base might just be forfeit while he tries to grab more Phoenixes to lift those up. But actually, Harstam not going to commit here.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised to see Harstam so trigger happy there. I honestly think if he sends in one Purifier Nova at a time, he can really easily pick up that 4th base again, because once again, you don't run into 4 or 5 Disruptors. Because if you only send in 1 unit, then Harstam will just kill that 1 unit and not use his Purifier Novas. But instead, Harstam is still sharking around, looking for a couple of big hits. Will only get a single Zealot with that one.
Yeah. Not the one that he microed for it, but still works out for M. Canning. But these ones, are they going to get better shots? No, they do not.
All 3 of them whiff.
Harstam has quite a few, though. So, and with the lower cooldown from maybe someone watching from a year ago.
The Zealot flanked by M. Canning.
This is very different. This actually is beautiful.
Yeah, the Zealots coming in from the other side. Unfortunately, a lot of them did get picked off by these Purifier Novas. But, I mean, a little bit of friendly fight there as well. That's a beautiful engagement by M. Canning. Great surround. Does a good job. Against these Purifier Novas as well, and he pushes this army back. Very well done by M. Canning.
Yeah, I was really worried that he would just die there, but now his double Stargate's kicking into gear. He's going to have an upgrade lead once again with the Plasma Shields finishing up. Does he have enough of a response to the Disruptors, though? Those Zealots from the back were awesome, but what about now?
Why is Harstam being so aggressive without a Prism?
That's a good point.
I don't really understand this. He's also very trigger happy with his Purifier Novas. Now all these Zealots have been walking to the other side of the map. I understand that he wants to keep the aggression on with his Disruptors, but I'd really love to see a Prism or a Proxy Gate or something, because reinforcements are super important. Once again, Mcanning is setting up the flank, coming in from multiple angles.
He also does have a couple Phoenixes try and lift them up. They're a little late, but the army mostly dodged the Disruptor shots. These ones do connect to a couple of Zealots. The back line is taken out, the Zealots, the Immortals, but the front line of Mcanning, is that still good enough? He's finding a lot of Disruptors left over, losing out on their protection.
Yeah, not too many Archons left. Once again, a lot of these Purifying Novas completely whiff. Harstem uses Revelation now to attack that army. Harstem truly needs a Prism. Look at the amount of money he has in the bank. He could have a couple Archons himself. He could have a few more Zealots, Stalkers. Obviously, Stalkers function great together with Disruptors, but I'm really sad to see not a single Prism on the side of Mcanning.
He has such an absurd amount of Disruptors that even when you dodge them, it feels like they just, it's non-stop anyways. So you really need a ton of Phoenixes, which he's trying to get to, but they are getting picked off.
That's obviously why Harstem is staying so aggressive, which I do get. I still think his life would be so much easier with Warpins on this side of the map. Either way, Harstem is not giving up. He wants to keep the aggression on. And Mcanning, even though he had a couple of beautiful engagements, it's over 10 Disruptors, so it's very, very tough to live them.
Yeah, gets a couple of shots there. Dodges those ones, but his Phoenixes are dying to the mass amount of Stalkers that Harstem is able to get. The Archons, if they get a concave, maybe this could be different, but they're always working through chokes against Disruptors, and that Disruptor just got a ton. Nicely done. Mcanning looks like he just might be on the ropes, so he's not dead yet.
Very ballsy forward blink there, but yeah, once again, the Disruptor count's still so high, and now, of course, the army being mostly of Stalkers. Stalkers and Disruptors function so well together. Mcanning is eating a lot of big shots, and that's all C road for game number 2 as Harstem secures the 2-0 lead for the Netherlands.
I really wonder what that the later engagements would have looked